Hello my beautiful butterflies, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Beverley and it is lovely to see you today. In this video we're going to be talking about some beginner friendly ways of honouring your ancestors. So grab a cup of tea, let's get to it. So I'm recording this on actual Halloween, the 31st, and then tomorrow and the next day are All Souls Day and All Saints Day. They're 3 amazing days, all for honouring your ancestors. It's a brilliant time to start because they're 3 days that are dedicated to the dead, to our ancestors, and so bridging that gap is going to be a little bit easier than it would be in other times of the year. So I really wanted to make a video that was going to give you some ways to start, some little places to begin if that's what you want to do. Let's get to this, shall we? But before we do, don't forget I am running a giveaway with some witchy giveaway items, so check out the video. I'll leave a link to it down below, and that is running till the 5th of November. And also don't forget, if you want to become part of the butterfly family, you can click the subscribe button. We would love to have you as part of the family here, so click that little button, leave us a cheeky little like and a comment. Let's get started, shall we? So as I was saying, now is the perfect time to start because people say the veil is thinning. What this means is the veil between our world and where the dead are is at its thinnest. But I was watching a really interesting video by one of my favourite YouTubers. I'll leave a link to it down below, where she was talking about how maybe the veil isn't thin, it's always that way, we just pay attention to it more at this time of year. It was a very interesting way of looking at it. She was like, this is how I see the world all the time, and just people pay more attention to their ancestors and to spirit world when the veil is thin. So that was really interesting. I will leave a link to that video down below if you want to learn more. She's an amazing teacher of psychic gifts, so if that's something you want to develop, go and check her out. But today I'm just going to be talking about some ways to honour your ancestors, and that's very different from working with your ancestors. That's something that I haven't moved into yet. I'm still just honouring my ancestors, although it's something that I'm moving a little bit closer to all the time. And this is a great time to start this practice of honouring them. It's a time of just getting into that mindset of being with them, remembering them, because that's all we want. We want to be remembered in death, and they have life experience and things that they can bring into your life, protection, things like that. Once you start wanting to bring that into your life, working with ancestors is brilliant. So we've got, I think it's 5 different ways that you can honour your ancestors, and these are all beginner and they don't cost very much money. So let's get to it, shall we? So the first way is to make an ancestor altar. Now you can do this very easily with just a tea light and a picture of somebody that you care about. When I started thinking about working with my ancestors, I definitely went on YouTube and just looked up and searched for people setting up ancestor altars. Seeing how different people, different witches practice this is really, really interesting. You also don't have to be out of the broom closet in order to do this. You can do it inside a little sweet tin or inside a box and keep it under your bed. It's not something that you have to be out loud and proud about, and you don't need a lot of space for it either. So I definitely would say that setting up an altar is your first number 1 step, and something that is really, really important to do if you want to work with your ancestors or just honour them. It's beautiful. I have pictures of people who've passed that surround a candle that I have specifically for them. I leave them wine or water or sometimes some coffee and little pieces of cake, or if I get like a chocolate bar that I really love, I might break a piece off and just leave it there on my altar. It's really, really simple. I also have a tarot deck that's specifically for talking to your ancestors, but you don't need those things. Just a tea light and a picture is perfectly fine. You can also do it online. I love setting up altars online. I have a couple of altars on my Pinterest where it's just I look up pictures that I associate with my ancestors or articles that are about working with them, and I have that online. So if you're unable to do it in person, you can do it online. So that's an idea for you. The next thing is to look into your family tree. Now, I started doing this on ancestry.com because it was just the one I'd heard the most about. It was online. I can do it on an app on my iPad, just sit and go through my family tree. But you can also do it by just going to your local library and asking them. Your librarian is going to be a really great resource if you want to do it yourself without going through an app like that. Say you don't have the extra money to spend on an app, because they do cost. But if you don't have access to that, you're okay. You can just do it yourself in the library. There are many books about tracing your ancestry. You can also watch TV programs like, I think it's called Who Do You Think You Are, which helps celebrities go through their family trees. There's an English one, I think it started in England, but there's an American one as well, and they're really interesting to watch to get tips from historians and librarians about how they've done it. So if that's something you're interested in doing, there's quite a lot of resources there that you can use to do it yourself. Looking through your ancestry is so interesting, but I do want to say that if you've been adopted, I would definitely say that you don't need to do this, and also you can work with, say, an adopted family member's family, or you can work with, say, somebody who was a mentor to you, looking into their family. So if your family, you can't trace them back for whatever reason, like for me personally, my great-grandmother's family came from Ireland, and there was a huge fire and all the records going back were burnt in that fire, and so now I can only go back to my grandmother because I know that, and then it kind of stops. I think I've got her sisters and her parents, but after that there's no records. So those people, I can still work with them without having all that information, without having their names, without having pictures and things like that. I can still work with them because you're just reaching back through the void. And also remember that our records, human history, is only recorded to a certain point. And so if it's something that you cannot do for whatever reason, don't feel like, oh well, that's it, I can't work with my ancestors. Reaching out to them, you may find that you'll start getting information given to you from surprising places as they reach back through the void to you. The next really cool thing, and I read about this in a book, I think, was making a scrapbook or a memory box of people who've passed away. Pictures, items that you have that were theirs, maybe knitting needles that your grandmother owned, or a brooch or a picture, just things that they had that have been passed down through the family. You could put in a box or a scrapbook, and so this would be a really wonderful place to keep things as a memory, as a memorial to those people. You can keep it under your bed if you feel embarrassed, or you might not even feel embarrassed, or you might not even feel like you can't talk about your ancestors. Having it in that sort of form, you don't have to be, oh, this is for witchcraft. It can just be, oh, I really want to remember these people who've passed away. So it's a really great way of doing it. Also, it doesn't cost a lot of money. You can get scrapbooking materials from like pound shops and things. So it's a really wonderful way to just bring craft into your craft. It's a really wonderful way to bring craft into your witchcraft journey, and to just spend some time with your ancestors, thinking about them, journaling about them. It's wonderful. Scrapbooking and memory boxes, just a really wonderful way of remembering people and keeping all their little treasures in one place. The next thing is writing. Now, you can do this by journaling about your memories with people, journaling about how you feel about certain people or things that happened that you remember. You could write letters to them, so letters to a father, grandfather, somebody who's even further back in the family line that you want to write to or reach out to. Maybe you find out they were a nurse when you're doing your research and you're like, I'm a nurse, they were a nurse, this is really cool, I'm going to write to them. So things like that, writing letters, journaling, that sort of thing can be incredible. And sometimes if you're very lucky and you get into a meditative state, state. It can turn into automatic writing, which could be that you start out writing about something to do with a certain spirit and then they come through and reply to it. My husband's doing a lot of research into automatic writing at the moment. It's a really wonderful little gift and way of psychically connecting with people. So writing and journaling, and again, it doesn't cost a lot of money. You can do it online if you are struggling and you don't want anyone to find it. You can just be really open, or you can write letters and burn them. That's what I do quite often. I'll write a letter and burn it, or I might write a letter and then put it underneath my pillow at night, and then sometimes I will dream about that person and they will give me answers to the things that I've written about, which is really, really cool. But that's just something that doesn't always happen, but it can sometimes happen, so that's really awesome. And that leads me on to my last tip, which is meditations and dream work. Now, as with anything like this, make sure you're protecting yourself, you're grounding yourself before you start doing this. But meditations to do with seeing a loved one, connecting with your ancestors, honouring your ancestors, can be found on any place where you find meditations, including here on YouTube, so you don't have to pay. Dream work is an amazing way of connecting with people who've passed. You can just put something under your pillow that will connect you with that person, say a letter like I said, or something that they owned, and then they will come into your dream. Dream works and meditations are just two amazing ways of connecting with people, and I love doing meditations like this. Some witchy meditation time is so lovely, to just get lost in memories with somebody or thoughts about somebody. Yeah, it's incredible. So they're my ways of connecting. I'm sorry if this was a bit disjointed or a bit all over the place. I am not feeling well today, as you might be able to tell by my shoulder brace. If you want to know what's happening with me in my health at the moment, I'll leave a link to my blog entry so you can see all the fun that's going on with me at the moment. But I really wanted to make this video. I really wanted to help beginners to find just simple ways of honouring their ancestors. I really hope that you enjoyed this video and you got something out of it. If you did, don't forget to head down below and leave it a cheeky little like, so I know that you enjoyed it and I can bring more content like this to my channel in future. And if these beginner tips help you, if you have any more ideas or tips, please leave me a comment down below. Leave those tips down there so other beginner witches and people who might not have thought of these things will know how to do them down below in the comments. I always love hearing from you, so don't forget to leave me a little comment. And last but certainly not least, if you enjoy my content, if you like my face, don't forget to head down below and hit that subscribe button, ring that little bell so you always know when I upload. I'm usually here Mondays and Fridays, my health permitting. I always do my very best to be here with you every week, twice a week. Take care everyone, have a wonderful Hallowtide, and I'll see you next time. Bye!